Shows that make you laugh. Shows that make you think. Music that moves you. It could only be one place. Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
It's time for the Bonnie Sher Show, a whirlwind of wit, wisdom, celebrity, and the boomer life. With a little bit of this and a lot of that and so much more you don't want to miss, here's Bonnie.
Well, hello there. And thank you, friends, old and new, for joining me here today on the Bonnie Sher Show Boomer Life. I first of all would like to thank Wayne Cobham for my super duper theme music. Thanks, Wayne. I am Bonnie Sher, your host and guide through the world of celebrity, the boomer life, and the world of the T1D community. Today's guests are actor, writer, and a very, very funny guy, my friend Jim Turner. Hello, Jim.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. And then we will be speaking with my T1 guest, and that's Christel. Oh, I'm going to blow her last name. I'm sorry, Christel, but I think it's Oerum. Oreum. So now you can all spell it, although I don't seem to be able to say it. Christel is a type 1. She is a fitness blog writer. She is a fitness model. And yes, she's here with us later today as well. But let's just turn around and say one more time, hello, Jim, and welcome. Do you see our huge audience?
Yeah, I didn't see. They're right over there. I missed them.
It's hard with all the lights to see the people. I know that.
They're bigger than it looks.
So, Jim, we know, or I know, that you're also a part of the T1D community. But before we talk about diabetes, let's talk about Jim Turner.
Okay.
My first question is, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
Well, my dog, Bob, is the first thing. But what I get up to do is the thing that I'm actually most passionate about now. The older I get, the less I really give a crap about my acting life, my being in TV shows, stuff like that, going in auditions, all of that.
Really?
Yeah. It really, it's like, okay, whatever, because I'm getting my pension now from SAG. So I just don't worry about it. And what I get excited about was I have a comedy group called Two-Headed Dog. And we do a once-a-month show and then lots of scattered shows. We do a once-a-month show at the Steve Allen Theater over on Hollywood, a couple blocks west of Vermont. And it's the last Tuesday of every month. We got a show coming up in the next Tuesday. And it's me and this guy, Mark Feit, Dave Allen, and Craig Anton. Very funny, very wackadoodle. We've been doing it for 22 years.
That's amazing. Do you ever take it out of Los Angeles, or the show's only here?
No, we took it to New York, but many years ago, like 15 years ago. And we took it up to San Francisco for Sketch Fest once. But generally, it's just here. We're not, we're bad business people. We don't really know how to make a business out of it. We just hired a person. We hired this woman to do our web stuff, like help run our website, which I've only visited once. She started a Twitter feed for us, which I'm not even a member of because I I started following it yesterday. I went, oh, I should see if we have any tweets up. We didn't. And we've hired her to do all of this, but we don't give her what she needs to do it because we're idiots. We're just idiots.
Well, I would say no.
But I love doing the show. That's what gets me excited.
I can understand that. How did you get into the business?
How did I get in the business?
How did you get
Oh,
into the
completely
business?
stumbled into it. I was a class clown. That's what I did. We moved around. My family moved around every year, sometimes twice a year. My dad was in the Air Force, and then he was in radio. And we used to move and move and move. And I lived in, I think, 12 houses before I was 10 years old, in different cities, different countries, different states, just all over the place. So wherever I went, I was always trying to make people laugh so that, you didn't get beat up or made fun of. And I think I got good at it. And then after high school, I sort of went to college, but not really, just very half-assedly. And a friend of mine signed me up to audition for the Bertolt Brecht play, Man is Man. And they were going to do a sort of comedy-ish version of it. And this friend of mine was the assistant to the director, and she called me up and said, hey, I signed you up to audition for Man is Man. And I didn't want to be an actor. I said, no, whoa, no, I'm not doing that. She said, oh, no, I signed you up. You got to do it. You're really funny, Jim. You'd be great. And I said, I don't want to do that. And I went and was really pissed off that I was there, and I had a total chip on my shoulder, and I didn't prepare anything, and I didn't know I was supposed to prepare anything. I'd never auditioned for anything. And the director said, so what are you reading? I said, what do you mean? He said, for your audition. He sort of gave Kathy a look like, really? And I didn't know I was supposed to prepare something. And he goes, wow, okay, so what are you reading?
Playboy.
And I said, I was reading Naked Lunch. And he said, well, get it out. And I got out of my backpack, and he said, just read. Open the book and read. And I started reading. And he cast me. He gave me like the second largest male part in this play, next to Gailey Gay, who was played by Terry O'Quinn from Lost. And I had this gigantic part and had no business being in this play. Didn't really know anything about acting. I'd taken an acting class once, and then the director of that and another guy that was in the play asked me if I wanted to be in a show they were doing at a bar called Cliff Notes Hamlet. And it was a comedy. It was a mostly improv version of Hamlet done by Dr. Clifford Note and his team of academics. And it was like 30 minutes long, and it was all made up. And I did it. And then this became a comedy group called Duck's Breath Mystery Theater, those 5 guys that were in that. And then that was a huge success in Iowa City, huge. And the bar owner said, when's the next show? And so we made up a title and did another show and then another show. Then other bars in town started coming to the show going, hey, come to our bar, come to our bar. And another bar called Gabe and Walker's gave us money. He paid us to do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night show. And so we wrote a new show every 2 weeks. I'd never been a writer. I'd never written comedy. I'd never acted. These guys were all MFAs in theater, directing, writing, acting, and I was kind of the loose screw in the group that helped them be more loose. And they taught me everything. They taught me everything I knew about it. And it was great. It was like I just learned on my feet. And now that's what I love doing.
You said that you thought that you didn't want to be an actor. What did you think you wanted to be when you grew up?
No idea.
Oh, you did, but you knew it wasn't being an actor.
It wasn't being anything. I was one of those, I changed my job every 3 months. I moved every 3 months. I traveled. I loved traveling. I went on a bike trip to Europe for 3 months. I moved to Vermont for 3 months. I hitchhiked there, lived there until it got cold. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And I thought, there's nothing I can do. Why didn't I train? Why didn't I learn how to do something like type or something? I really blew it. Dang.
Well, I can relate to that. Interesting, my background is pretty much the same. I went to a different school and lived in a different city every year from the time I was 5 all the way through college. My mother was a Jewish gypsy, so, and pretty much I couldn't type, so that was my issue, and show business came in. But I was very directed. I knew that was what I wanted to do.
Lots of people are that way. That's great. I wish I'd inherited that, because I wasted a lot of time getting to and I still don't think of myself like. I always say to my manager, she says, "Oh, you're going out for this," and I said, "Okay, is this something they want, like a real actor?" She goes, "Jim, you're a real actor," and I go, "No, I'm not. You know I'm not, Margaret. I'm like an entertainer."
You're still worried that they're going to find you out.
Completely. Every actor thinks that.
No, I know.
But I know it's the truth.
But you know it's
I know.
Do you have any great influences? Anybody that you could call upon to say, well, the way they presented or the way they thought or they wrote? Do you like anything in that, or are you really a fully fledged Jim Turner?
It's kind of fully fledged, because I didn't really base anything on anybody. But when I was a kid, I worshipped Jerry Lewis. I couldn't believe how great he was. I also liked comedy on the Ed Sullivan Show. I always liked it when they had a comedian, though sometimes it'd be like Alan King.
You didn't like those plate turners.
I liked them, but I really liked the comedy. I enjoyed that.
I went for the show tunes, but never mind.
But no, Buster Keaton, really big influence. Jerry Lewis. And I think a lot of musicians, Randy Newman, people that use, dry, wry comedy in music, I love. And even though I don't really sing, that's what I'm drawn to more, is music.
Yeah, wonderful. What are you working on currently?
Well, besides Two-Headed Dog, and you used one of the things that I made with Two-Headed Dog. We work with this filmmaker, Joseph Petrick, the Chome Underhill thing. That's actually a character I did years ago that I put in Two-Headed Dog. And Joe was over at my house. We were talking about stuff, and he said, let's shoot something. And so we just pulled out the camera and shot me going like that, and then making up phrases. But so I'm working on that. And my TV show that I was on for 3 years, Granite Flats, just ended.
Well, I'm not clapping that it ended.
It was a show that we did for BYU TV, and it was a great show. It truly was a great show. It's on Netflix. It's a family show set in 1962, and Parker Posey is on it, Christopher Lloyd. Great cast of New York and LA.
I heard Jim Turner's on that too.
And Jim Turner's on it. He played Dr. Ronald Andrews, who was doing MK Ultra experiments. Do you know what MK Ultra is?
No.
MK Ultra is a program that the CIA had in the 60s and 70s, where they gave LSD to soldiers without telling them. And this was just a study to see if we can control their brain. And horrible, horrible, horrible things. They gave these guys LSD, never told them. They gave one guy LSD every day for 75 days, and he forgot who he was. And they kept really sketchy records. And they actually tried to destroy them. And then during Nixon, somebody went and found files that they had sort of buried. And then it became more famous. And the program was called MK Ultra. And in Granite Flats, I play a doctor doing MK Ultra experiments on Army soldiers. And that we could do this on a BYU TV is so flabbergasting. And
if our listeners don't know, we are speaking Brigham Young University.
Yeah.
We aren't. Yeah. Okay. Well,
and we shot it in Salt Lake City. and never.
But you couldn't drink.
Well, we could. The Mormons didn't.
Right.
Salt Lake City is actually a great
Don't
city.
they have? I heard that they have drinking clubs.
Salt Lake City now. I think the Olympics changed all of that because I think that was part of the deal of bringing the Olympics to Utah was that okay, we'll have bars where people can go get a beer, and they have bars now. They have bars and restaurants. Some of the restaurants are grandfathered in, so they can't make you a mixed drink in front of you. And I went to one of my favorite restaurants. I went and ordered a Manhattan, and then this guy disappeared through these swinging doors. And then he brought my Manhattan. I said, "Wait a minute, where'd you just go? What was that?" And he goes, "Oh, you don't know?" "No." He said, "We can't make it in front of you. I have to go back there and make it."
What's
but other bars are completely different.
I don't understand what the policy is behind that.
No idea.
Oh, okay.
No idea.
That will not be my next question. Other than not asking why you can't watch your drink be made, what advice would you give now to a young person wanting to follow the path that you have?
This is
Or
funny.
even an old person.
Oh, well, I'm doing this Sunday. This actress moved down. She's friends, the daughter of friends of mine who are both actors, and she moved to L.A. to be an actress here, which is different than being an actress in San Francisco doing theater, which is what her folks do. And she wants to get in show business. So she said, "Can I pick your brain about stuff?" And so we're getting together Sunday. So maybe I'll practice that now. The first thing I would tell her to do, I'm going to tell her to do, is go see Brian Reese, acting teacher. He's on Fountain, and he trains people to be actors in TV and film. And you work every week. He's great.
and his name again is Brian?
Brian Reese, Reise.
Are you writing this down, potential actors?
He
You're
literally
getting great
saved
info.
my career. When I moved here, I'd done all this different things, and I was in San Francisco forever. Lived in New York. I did this character, Randy of the Redwoods, in New York, and then finally I said, well, I got to go to L.A. So I moved to L.A., and I was here a year and a half and didn't get one job. I had an agent, didn't get one job because of an audition, not one. I mean, not even close. And I had this agent, George Goldie, who kept going, "What's going on, man? I don't understand. You should be booking these jobs I'm sending you out on. You're not even getting callbacks." And I said, I don't know, man. They just do, they're weird. And I didn't know how to audition. I had no idea how to do anything. And he said, go see this guy, Brian Reese. And I said, I'm not spending more money on acting classes. You know, I took an acting class once. I didn't enjoy it. I'm not doing that. And finally, I didn't book any jobs ever or get callbacks. And he said, I got to let you go. I said, oh, okay. What's this clown's name? And I went, took his class. I took one class and booked the next two jobs I went out on. And so I'd stopped taking from Brian when I got Granite Flats because I just didn't have time. But I've been there for over 20 years.
Wow.
And that's what I'm going to tell her to do. Because you'll learn everything you need to know with Brian. It's about how to walk onto a set. It's about how to walk into a room to audition. It's about, that it isn't all talent.
It's the tools to go into the toolbox to take along with your talent
Yes.
to take to the audition.
Yes.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
And it's all business. I said it's show business. It's show business. It's show business.
As opposed to show fooling around.
Or show talent. It's not about show talent.
No.
Talent's good, but
Did you ever have to take a day job?
yeah, when we first moved to San Francisco, I had a bunch of crappy day jobs.
Can you remember one truly terrible one?
Well, it was all, we worked for, I think, Western Temporary Associates, and so we would go out, and I couldn't type, so I would go out and move boxes and stuff like that. And I've done lots of work over the years. Yeah, but nothing skilled, helping somebody build the swimming pool they wanted to build. But I don't know how to build things, so
I must say I never did that.
Yeah.
No, I never did swimming. Okay, then. What moment? I mean, I really am a believer that nothing sustains and that everything is all about the moments. What moment would you say best defines where you are and who you are today? Can you bring that down?
What moment in my life?
Yeah.
Oy, oy, oy. Oh boy. I don't know, because I mean.
Would you like one from my life?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. What? There's so many, and it changes all the time. I mean,
well,
your life
please
constantly.
God. Well, please
constantly
God,
just,
because the life goes on.
yeah, it just keeps moving. Boy, oh boy.
You're going to have to think about that one. Come back and visit me again. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, we don't have a whole lot of time left, but I do, from my own heart, is to thank you for all of the work that you do for type 1 diabetes.
Thank you.
Diabetes Daily, I've been reading about you all over the place, you ambassador, you. So I think it's pretty terrific. Can you please tell our listeners how they can follow you? Do you know what your tweet handle is?
It's called Two-Headed Dog, with the 2, the number 2, and you can go to the website. I'm not sure what's there. twoheadeddog.com. And I can be found on Facebook. All of those things, all of my shows, Girly Magazine Party, Clowntown City Limits, Sachet Gigante, Jim Turner, can all be found on Facebook. I've become a friend with anybody that asks to be my friend. I've never unfriended anybody. And when you do that, I don't have like a fan page and a personal page. I keep everybody up to date with what it is I'm doing.
Well, then, our audience will know how to follow you. Jim, I can't thank you enough for being here and sharing your time. And thank you again for all you do. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jim Turner.
Oh, they pull back the curtain. You can see him again.
Okay, next, I know what's next. Next, you are listening to the Bonnie Sher Show. Join the conversation, please, by calling 323-843-2826, or you can follow the hashtag. That's the # #BeShareRadio. Coming up inside my blue world, which is a shout-out from my soapbox on who I feel has gotten it right, and my shout-down to those I feel have gotten it very, very wrong. But in the meantime, let's go to break with a tune that sums up pretty well how I'm feeling today, and that life does go on. And this tune is sung by Natalie Toro, and it's called Here I Am. Take it away.
I'm so happy to be here. I've been kind of missing Mom and Daddy. Sort of in a spin since Cincinnati. The morning flight, a major bore, but then they opened the cabin door and zoot-a-lors, here I am. Lord knows I had the will and the resources. Mom and Dad kept saying, hold your horses. I guess those ponies couldn't wait. Pardon me, folks, but they left the gate. I may be late, but here I am. Ah, the way to be, to me is French. The way they say la vie is French. So here I am, Beaumont-sur-Mer, a big 2 weeks on the Riviera. If I'm only dreaming, please don't wake me. Let the summer sun and breezes take me. Excuse me if I seem jejune. I promise I'll find my marble soon. But everywhere I look, it's like a scene from a book. Open the book and here I am. sincere is French. The skies are French, the pies are French, those guys are French, these fries are French. Pardon me if I fly off the handle, 'cause nowhere else on earth can hold a candle. So veni vidi vici, folks, let's face it, je suis ici, folks. Excusez-moi if I spout, I'm letting my je ne sais quoi out. I'm sorry to shout, but here I
am. Welcome back to the Bonnie Sher Show. Joining me in this segment is Christel Oerum, a member of the T1D community, residing right here in Venice, California. Yeah, it's a woohoo kind of place. Welcome, Christel.
Thank you.
Tell us your story, please.
Sure. First, thank you so much for having me here. I really, really appreciate it.
And we thank you for being here.
I need to be closer to the mic here. Sorry. So it's first time on the radio, so give me the cues if I do it wrong. Basically, well, my name is Christel Oerum, as you just said. I am a Danish native. I moved to the U.S. about 6 years ago. All 6 years in California. Started out in San Francisco, which was a ton of fun. Moved down to Los Angeles, Venice / Santa Monica area. I am, as you also mentioned, type 1 diabetic. I was diagnosed in 1997 at 19. So fairly late, I guess, compared to a lot of type 1s. I do see it as kind of a, well, I'm kind of happy about it, to be honest, to be able to be a teenager and to be able to be a kid without having to deal with type 1 diabetes. I see that as kind of a blessing. Well, it hit me at 19, and it was interesting because my diagnosis was not dramatic at all, which I'm grateful for, of course. It was one of those things where I was very tired. You know, I had all the symptoms. I slept a lot. I would fall asleep during the day. I worked in a preschool at that point. So when I had to look after the kids, I was like, when they got down for a nap time, I would sort of nap with them. I drank a ton of water. You know, I couldn't sit through a movie without having to use the restroom. All the sort of standard symptoms. I also, well, I was fairly slender. I was never skinny, but I was slender and I was eating a ton. I was going through a box of ice cream every night, which was awesome. I do have a sweet tooth, so I was eating all this food. I was not gaining weight, but I was so tired, so drained all the time. I come from a family of medical professionals, and they started to take notice. So at one point, I think it was early Christmas, because I was diagnosed in December, so it'd been like early Christmas gathering. One of my aunts was like, I think you need to see a doctor because this is not normal. I think I was napping between, you know, the courses. So I went and saw my doctor, and he started lecturing me about proper nutrition, getting enough sleep, exercising, all those things that I was actually doing. And then he just, to be safe, tested my blood sugar, and of course it was through the roof. This was a Friday, and he's like, you know what? I think you're diabetic. Go home, and we'll send you to the specialist clinic Monday. So I biked home. Again, I'm from Denmark. Everybody's on their bicycles. So I biked home not knowing what the heck was diabetes. I didn't know anybody with diabetes. Nobody in my family have it. So I came home. Well, actually, biking home, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die. Mm-hmm. I have no clue what this is. You know, he could just as well have said HIV. I had no clue. You know, I just knew that it was severe. It was not good. So came home. Luckily, my mom was a nurse, could sort of educate me a little bit, and we could have the chat, and I could understand that, you know, I'm not dying, at least not today, and not, you know, in the near future because of this diabetes thing. Monday, we went to something called Steno Diabetes Center, which is a very well-known center in the Copenhagen area. And there, I got extremely good care. Okay. And it was, I mean, the nurse that was assigned to me, Lotte, shout out to Lotte, because she really made a difference. she made a difference in the sense that she was the first one to tell me, yes, you have diabetes. Don't let it slow you down. You know, keep doing what you would do if you're not diagnosed with this. Just pursue your dreams, and of course you need to plan. And that's what I tell everybody, you know, who come to me saying like, I want to do this and that, but don't know if I can because of this diabetes. I'm like, well, in my opinion, there's nothing you can't do with diabetes. We might have to plan a little more. We might have to be a little more structured. But, you know, if we put our thinking caps on, I don't see any reason why we couldn't. And I mean, less than a year after my diagnosis, I backpacked around India by myself with a girlfriend, with all my insulin in my backpack. For 3 months, I have traveled the world. I've gotten my MBA. I've got my personal trainer degree. I've competed in competitive fitness competitions, and
Phenomenal.
moved across the globe to come live in the U.S. I don't know. This cannot slow me down. And why should it?
Good
Right?
for you. I love to
thank
hear
you.
this. I love to hear this. In terms of care and treatment,
Yes.
do you find, I would imagine there would be, so I'm answering my own question, a difference in the way that medical people in Denmark treat and teach the disease as opposed to how they do here in the U.S.? Or is it pretty much a formatted?
I don't. It's interesting because I started out at Steno, the diabetes center, which was for youth, basically.
All
So
right.
I ended up in the youth party, and I ended up moving. So I was placed under another hospital.
And where you started on injection therapy?
Injections, yes. I didn't know about pumps at all. CGM was not really out there back then in '97, I think.
No.
So actually, it's interesting because I saw a doctor at another hospital, and at one point, I was just coming in getting my A1Cs, and they were like, "Oh, it's awesome, go home." And I asked him, like, "So, you know, could I maybe just mail it in or something because I'm wasting my time? You know, why am I here? Why do I keep coming?" And then he started to talk about a pump. So I would say the big difference is that, and I actually asked for CGM at one point, was told no because it was not good enough. I would say in the U.S., I also have a very, very good endo here in LA. So my doctor, and she is all about pumps if that's the right thing for you. So that being said, I'm still on MDI, so multiple daily injections. I am also on CGM, and I love that combination. It just really works for me. But I do find that in the U.S., there's, at least if you have private insurance, they're more open to using technology.
Right.
So, but that is the big thing. It's, you know, insurance. Because
And unfortunately, insurance will not cover everything.
True.
There is a huge push now to have this bill that's been languishing in Congress for a few years now to make Congress pass a bill to allow the insurance company, well, Medicare, to pay for the CGMs. They took mine away from me, or at least they took away the payment, so that then translates to an out-of-pocket of about $10K a year. So, of course, my concern is, although I hear about all of these wonderful, you know, maybe an artificial pancreas or that, or this or that, well, yeah, who's going to afford that and who's going to pay for that? If we can't convince them, I mean, the argument comes back, well, you can just prick your fingers and you can get, but that's not the picture we're looking for. And for some reason, we just are not able to get that through. So that's that, because I also see that as goes Medicare, so go the rest of the insurance companies. Either people who are currently covered, well, they risk the possibility of no longer being under that coverage, or the other thing is they will become of Medicare age. And although it isn't a big concern maybe when you're 25 or 35 or even 45, to have that kind of a change occur and have that taken away for financial reasons just makes no sense to me. So
it's part of parental care as well.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and-
absolutely. And basically, then it's a lot of paperwork and gobbledygook because they don't know what code number to put on it. Call me. I'll help you out. Okay, I'll give you a code number. I will. What I'd like to do now, Christel, is ask you to take a listen with me and the audience to something that I refer to as my T1 Group podcast, Inside My Blue World. So have a seat, make yourselves comfortable, and have a listen, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Sounds good.
Hello, and welcome to the My T1 Group podcast, Inside My Blue World. I'm your host and Type 1 Diabetes Crusader, Bonnie Sher. This is my weekly share, headlines from around the globe and across the net. Some will pique your interest, inspire, or frankly tick you off. But all are topics for discussion with our diabetes care team and the T1D community. You can find the links on my blog at bonnieshare.com. This week, a couple of headlines on physical fitness. My first headline share, why you should stay fit and what exercises do, is from endocrineWeb.com. For type 1s, exercise increases insulin sensitivity and helps to process carbohydrates. My second share, various strategies, activities prevent glycemic extremes in type 1 diabetes during exercise, is from Endocrine Today, which interviewed a presenter at the American Association of Diabetes Educators annual meeting. According to the presenter, not all types of exercise are equal when it comes to blood glucose response. My last share is a profile of Robin Arzon, a New York City 2015 hottest trainers contestant. In an article for the New York Racked, Robin says she's been dealing with type 1 from an early age, but still managed to run 5 marathons in 5 days across Utah. That's inspiring. That's my weekly share. For the links to these headlines and articles, visit my blog at bonnieshare.com. Until we connect again, may your A1Cs be low and your resilience high. So, Christel, tell me, as a trainer, which is what I now know is what you do, what do you think about this? My first question would be about the article about what kind of exercise would be most beneficial in terms of the reduction of glucose.
So actually, it's really interesting because it kind of depends on who you are. So in terms of how your body reacts to different kind of exercise. In general, as the article says, if your body, becomes stressed, you start producing adrenaline, your sugars will rise. So that you often see in like sprints, for example, or even in soccer, if you're chasing after each other, even though it's a cardio exercise in the sense that you're running, if you're sprinting after others all the time, you can still get this spike of adrenaline that will make your sugars go up. It's actually interesting because some of my clients will see a reduction in their sugars doing one type of exercise and some will see an increase. So what I do is, and what I also do on the Fit blog is I go in and I let people know how it works for me. So for me, going for a walk will make my sugars drop.
It will or it won't?
It will.
It will.
Yeah, and that's kind of a cardio exercise. Running for 20 to 40 minutes, my sugars will be flat. Going in the weight room, lifting weights aggressively for, let's say, 40 minutes, I can see my sugars go up, and there the adrenaline comes in. So you need to figure out, we all need to figure out how our body reacts to different kind of exercises. I guess some people are more mellow when they lift weights and they don't see that increase in sugars. But I, for example, know, as I said, my sugars will increase during resistance training. So I need to have a little more insulin on board when I go into a session. So what it does, however, is that it will make my sugars decrease up to 24 hours after. And that is simply because when you go into the weight room, you lift your weights, you break down the muscle tissue. So that's what's happening in the gym. The time after, what's going on is you have all the repair and the strengthening of your muscles. So that's where you see your sugars start to declining, also because you're not doing this extreme exercise anymore, so you don't have your adrenaline spikes. So there's a whole lot going on, and my approach to this is I can tell other people what works for me, but what we need to figure out is how does the different kind of exercise impact the individual, because we are all so different. So what I try to do is I try to give people frameworks, saying, okay, measure your sugars, what you eat, etc. before you start your exercise. Note down which kind of exercise. Figure out how your body reacts, because just following general guidelines will not always make you successful.
I understand. I just want to take a second and let the audience know that Christel writes a fitness blog, which is called thefitblog.com. I can probably remember that. Which she writes together with her husband, not mine. I don't have one. Is your husband a diabetic as well, or how did he come on board other than he loves you and wanted to be a part?
Yeah, no, he's not diabetic. So the overall blog, the Fit blog, is for not just for diabetics. It's a general health and fitness blog where our goal is to get to as many people as possible. It needs to be approachable fitness and health information, such as recipes, workouts, general information. I then have a whole section dedicated to being fit with diabetes. That's my corner. And this is where I share all my experience, all my stories. And it's a completely free website.
And the URL for that again is?
thefitblog.com.
Excellent. And also, I know that you do personal training here in Los Angeles.
That's true.
So can somebody go through the website to contact you, or is there, how would you like potential clients to reach out to you?
So most of my personal training clients are actually they're either in person, which is personal training, or they're online, which means that I actually work with diabetics all across the country and internationally.
Now that's something to pay attention.
That's pretty cool. Most of them contact me directly through the website, so they go to thefitblog.com. We have a contact form, and they simply write me there. I get it in my inbox, and I email back. So that's the easy part.
I mean, it's easier than the exercise and the fitness portion of the program?
Depends.
I love listening to this. I'm the least athletic person on the planet. However, I think you could even inspire this woman, and that's no easy feat. But I must say, you look great.
Thank you.
You're glowy, you're healthy, and I want to say thank you for joining us and having the conversation about fitness, because as we all know, it is just an integral part of our best health. So, Christel, I want to thank you for sitting in with me today. And if any of my other type 1s would like to co-host and be a guest on the show, it's really very simple. All you need to do is exactly what Christel did, and that was to send me an email and tell me what you'd like. And I'm going to say yes. And what you want to do is you want to email me at bonniesher.com. It's just that easy. I hate to end this segment, but it's time for my soapbox. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Sean Parker. Yep, that's the billionaire type fellow of Napster and Facebook fame for gifting $10 million to the University of California at San Francisco toward the work of an immunologist by the name of Dr. Jeff Bluestone. Dr. Bluestone is an immunologist, and the work is about the retraining, ostensibly, of the cells so that they will continue to produce insulin. Actually, it would be the genetic modification of the cells. So a $10 million hit is remarkable. And by the way, he has already stated, he being Sean Parker, that this is not the sum and substance of his gift. This is something that's near and dear to him, as he has allergic responses that have been death-defying, and really appreciated the work that Dr. Bluestone, so many blues, is doing. So, yay. Next is my shout down, and this story really got to me. It seemed so. It's shame on Orange County, California's district attorney's office. The Orange County Weekly reported of unconscionable actions by the office. There is a prisoner who has been incarcerated on a murder charge for over 20 years. And apparently, and this was all before they had DNA testing. Within the last 7 years, they have in fact tested him, and they know for a fact that he was not the perpetrator. And take it a step farther, they in fact know who the real perp is, and yet will do nothing to reverse this. And this gentleman, Kenneth Clare, is sitting on death row. The article goes on to say that this is another case, not just an incidental case, but yet another case of severe misconduct by the district attorney's office. If you'd like to read more about this, you can do so. I found this. It was posted on November the 12th at www.dailycos.com. The writer on that was Josie Duffy. If you have an opinion, visit my blog at bonniesher.com/blog and sound off. Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll return next week for another 50-minute tour of the land of Bonnie, the land of type 1 diabetics, and the land of the boomers. Until then, please visit bonniesher.com. Follow the number 1 Bonnie Sher on Twitter, and like the Bonnie Sher Sings Lena, Lena, Lena Horne, Facebook fan page. Again, I'd love to thank today's guests, Jim Turner and Christel Oerum, for sharing this ride. Before we go, a note of thanks to Corey Bone of Crown and Anchor Jewelry for outfitting me with this stunning piece of work, which is white gold and diamonds. And what Corey has done here is to take pieces of this particular client's existing jewelry and repurposed it and remade it into something quite special. If you would like to find out if Corey can work with you and what you would like to do, please contact him. And you can write to Corey at Crown and Anchor, and is written out, Crown and Anchor 31109 at gmail.com. Tell them Bonnie sent you. And for my friends, new and old, you are no doubt aware of my close friendship with the late Sammy Davis Jr. He was my mentor, and he was also my friend. And if by chance there are speakers in heaven, well then, my friend, this one's for you. Take us out.
Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, whether I find a place in this world or never belong, I gotta be me. I gotta be me. What else can I be but what I am? I want to live, not merely survive. And I won't give up this dream of life that keeps me alive. I gotta be me. I gotta be me. The dream that I see makes me what I am. That faraway prize, a world of success, is waiting for me if I heed the call. I won't settle down, won't settle for less, as long as there's a chance that I can have it all. I'll go it alone, that's how it must be. I can't be right for somebody else if I'm not right for me. I gotta be free.